Doesn't look like much, but this is Don Andersen's green thing. So called because it's green, but you can also tie it in gray or brown or whatever color you want. And Don showed this one to me on the crow's nest probably, I don't know, 18 years ago or so. And I looked at it and I said, there's nothing there. There's like, how can that catch fish? It doesn't have wing cases or anything. It's like nothing. But then Don proceeded to catch a whole lot of fish. And Don ties these in big sizes like this for Stonefly, and he also ties it in small sizes, like down to a 16 or an 18 for mayfly nymphs. Like this was his generic nymph pattern. Okay, so you tie up one nymph pattern and cover the whole territory. So that's what it is. That's what it looks like. Okay, and that's what we're going to go towards. It's a real simple tie. There's nothing complicated about it. Two materials: marabou and some hen hackle, and lead. Third material, lead.
What's it called, Michael?
It's called Don's green thing. Green thing. Green thing. Doesn't have to be green.
But that wouldn't be Don's green thing, but...
No.
Don's thing, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go there.
Okay. So the very first thing you have to realize is this fly has to be weighted. Okay. This is a streamer hook, size 79580, size 4. Okay. But you can tie. Yeah, but you can tie it whatever you want. Okay? You have to weight this fly, okay? And you have to weight it heavily. Now, Don and I both belong to the politically incorrect times where we use lead. All right, Barry. Okay, I see you approve. Okay, someday we know that this is going to be banned, but for now it hasn't been, so we're going to use it. Okay, this is a trick Don showed me. You take your pliers and you grab your lead, point of your lead, like that, and then you put it there, just sort of almost above the point, and then you wrap it on. Touching wraps as much as possible.
What size of lead, Michael?
This is 035.
035?
Yep. Well, what do you mean? That's not much lead.
Very respectful.
Doesn't Don use that with a spin casting rod?
No? Okay, so you want to leave a couple eye lengths here, okay? And then you go back over this. So you're adding to the lead, and you go back almost to the halfway point, and then because it's lead, you can just snip it off with your fingernail. If you're using the non-lead, you can't. You have to use scissors or something to chop it off. Okay, so I'm going to condense that, get that into position. So I'm just, you can't see what I'm doing, but basically I'm just taking the tag ends of the lead and just doing that. Okay, what I did was I just spun it on, just using it right off the spool. And that's one of the things which I've started doing is just to save time. I'm not going to take off a length and cut it off and then spool it or put it on and then have stuff left over. I just take it right off the spool. Okay? So now you've got the lead on. You need to trap the lead. So I'm going to start up here, close the eye of the hook. Now if I were Barry White, I would count the number of wraps there so that I know exactly how many to put on, and I would do it consistently, the same number of wraps every time I do it, but I'm not a professional, so I don't do that.
Barry wouldn't do that.
Oh yes he does. Oh yes he does.
And he uses 32 and a half wraps on every one of them.
Okay, and so what I'm doing now is I'm just spiraling it over the lead. Okay, so back here, what I'm doing is I'm going to build this up, and I want to build up sort of a ramp from where the tail's tied in up to the lead so that it sort of transitions nice onto the lead. And it also keeps the lead from moving around too much.
So the idea of this fly is you knock them out with the lead and then scoop them up with the net?
Yep. This goes right to the bottom.
Take careful notes, please.
Yeah, and if it hits you on the back of the head, you know
How
it.
much ink you put on it, Vince, it won't float.
Yeah, no, this is not for Vince. Okay.
You can read
Okay,
a number
and-
18 hook too?
Yep. Yeah, you just
Two wraps.
you just use thinner lead. Okay.
Chuck and duck.
Chuck and
Don't
duck.
try it till they hit the water.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So basically, all I'm doing is I'm building it up in front, so there's a ramp there as well.
Taking notes, Vince?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm just going back and forth over this. Lots of wraps, just to make sure it's all gonna.
Usually just a little bit of zap it up on the hook shank and...
I'm tying it the traditional way.
Oh.
Okay. You could do that too.
One
Okay.
spool of thread per hook.
Yep. Okay.
Like, it's not necessary to cover the lead entirely, is it?
No, I just like doing that. From your side, you can't see much thread. From the other side, there's more thread on that. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is you have to coat it with glue. Okay. Now, if I was doing a whole bunch of them, what I would do is I would tie up, say, a dozen to this stage, and then I would do all my gluing at one time.
What's the purpose of the glue?
The glue is just to hold it all together. That lead is not going to move. Yeah, well, back in the old days, we didn't have Zappa yet.
That's true.
Back when you had to put it in
So lots and lots of lead, or lots and lots of glue, lots and lots of
What do you mean by glue?
head cement. Whatever your favorite head cement or whatever you want. This is just some El Cheapo head cement that
In
I
other
use.
words, use whatever smells better for you.
Yeah, well, this
Never get you the highest.
you know what? This stuff does not smell very good. I don't like using it. And when I glue, I hold my breath, I glue all my flies, and I get the hell out of the
You
room.
don't do too many then, you can't hold your breath that long.
Yeah, I can. Okay, so now you've got that all nicely glued up, okay? And then you have to put it aside to dry. And now, through the magic of preparation, I've got one prepared, okay? This one I glued up yesterday. Now, at this point, I often wonder to myself, how much do my flies weigh? So that's why I have one of these. This is a little scale. Okay? You can buy them in shops around the
3
city.
ounces.
No. You have to put an awful lot of stuff on here, okay? So I've got this scale, and just for interest's sake, we'll just fire it up and see how much it weighs. Just get it zeroed, yep. Okay. So that one weighs 0.081 ounces. So 81 thousandths of an ounce.
Can you give back to me in grams, please?
There's a way to switch.
1/16 of an ounce.
Yeah, there's a way to turn it into grams, but I don't know how to do that. So anyway, it weighs a fair bit, but not as much as a jig. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now I've got that. So. Okay. Just make sure I've got that on tight. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to tie on back here. Okay. so now I need some hand hackle, and the older tires among us will remember these sorts of things. It's hard to get these sorts of things now, but you can get them.
Indian chicken.
Yeah, Indian chicken necks. Yep. And you used to buy these things because you didn't have much choice. And now you can buy genetically manufactured hens necks that are all nice and. But anyway.
You use what color? Just whatever color you
Whatever
like?
color you like. I like using black. Okay, black or dark brown, but you could also use grizzly or one of your dyed colors. One like
Yeah,
I've
I
got
was
a
thinking of pheasant, pheasant roll.
pheasant rump would work too. Yeah.
Good too, yeah.
And a black pepper.
Anyway, whole bunch of feathers there.
All the fluff from that grizzly hackles left over.
Yeah, you could use that too. Okay, so I've actually got 2 of them there. I'm just gonna rip off a whole big bunch of them and tie it on, and just tie it on behind where that lead was. And make a tail, okay? If you wanted to get fancy, you could divide it and do things like that, but Don never did, so I'm not going to, okay? Okay, so now the next material is marabou, okay? And where did I put the marabou? Here it is. Okay, so lovely marabou, and this is one of my complaints with Don when I first saw him using this stuff. You've got the marabou, and you're not using the nice woolly bugger action or anything. You're just putting it on the fly. What good is that? Okay. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this marabou, put it in a dubbing loop, spin it onto the fly. What fly does that remind you of?
The bucket.
What?
Damsel.
No.
Catatonic.
The catatonic leech. The catatonic leech is Dean Bain's invention, which is basically using marabou dubbed on the hook with lots of lead. He got this idea directly from Don, because him and Don fished together quite a bit, and took it and applied it to the leech pattern.
So Don didn't come up with that catatonic leech then?
No, it was Dean Bain's. And Dean also came up with a way to fish it, which is to not move it at all. Everybody else was jerking their flies around like crazy and not catching anything. Okay, so I just snipped off a whole bunch of marabou, and I need some wax. One of the few things I use dubbing wax for, and I'm going to wax up a good 6 inches or so. And then I just take this off, tips towards the thing, and just, I wonder if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Just spinning it on. Spinning it on. The dubbing wax keeps it on there. And one of the drawbacks of this fly is it takes a little bit of time to do this because you want to build up a body. Okay. Okay, so.
So would a dubbing loop be a little bit stronger, or?
Definitely stronger. Like I've made these where I just wrap from here, and then what happens is that it ends up falling apart a little bit sooner. Okay, so I'm just going to make a dubbing loop, capture the thread there, and then I'm going to wind it forward to about there. I won't get that far. Okay, so this is a spinning dubbing loop. I'm going to spin clockwise. That's in the way I'm facing it. Okay, so this is one of the miracles of modern thing, rotary vices.
Is that what you do with the rotary one?
This is practically the only thing I do with the rotary vise.
Baseball depends anyhow.
Yeah, I've had this for years, and I almost never use the rotary function. Never.
Is that
Oops.
pen light from,
What?
that stem light you got on there, is that from the Renzetti collection?
No, I don't know who made that. I got that at the Fishtails in Calgary. It was just one of those impulse purchases. Okay. So you notice that you got fibers sticking out all over the place. Well, that's just fine. Okay, and I got a fair ways up there, but I didn't get as far as I want. So I'm just going to tie off that, and I'll have to do some more. Now, so more wax. More marabou dubbed onto there. I think that'll probably be enough to get where I want to go. Usually you have to do at least two goes to get up to the where your thorax is on this sort of big fly. Close it. I'm going to wrap up onto there. Okay. And continue wrapping. And notice I'm going back and forth over this. I'm not staying in one spot. I'm not worried about putting this thing on one of these things here.
Bobbin holder.
Bobbin holder, yeah, that's what it's called. Just go on there and there. Okay. So I get up to there. Okay. So now at this point, I am going to put on my hen hackle. Okay, so I find a nice hen hackle, with lots and lots of webby fibers. That's what I want. Hold these back. I situate that there. Sort of wrap in that end on theirs. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this, wet my fingers, fold these back so that they'll tend to go in a backwards direction. Now it doesn't always work out right, but okay. And this is a trick that Barry showed me in the fishing hole many years ago. He's behind the counter there tying a fly, and he showed me this.
Did he know he was showing?
Well, yeah, he was showing. Yeah, he was given instructions. Okay, so a couple wraps, and then I'm going to try to capture that. Okay, if some of them aren't going the direction you want them to go, doesn't matter because you can make them. You can force them. Okay, now. Okay. So, okay, and the thorax you want thicker than the abdomen, so I'm trying to lay this on a little thicker. Capturing it is important. I'm not sure why, but I noticed that I know that it tends to come unwound if you don't capture it. So I'm hoping that that's going to be enough for me to. Don't want that to happen. So I wrap it over there, and then this part here is thicker anyway. I'm trying not to let too much of the lead show through, but it does. I'm going to need another go of this. You could, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would work as a dragon, I'm pretty sure. It's generic. It looks like a bunch of things. It's not really anything.
Put a red bead on the front to deep water level.
Yep. You could. And in fact, when lead gets banned, I'm going to have to do something about this. So it's probably going to be beads of some sort.
I use the lead substitute, Mike. It works pretty well.
You're starting to come out with tungsten now that are strips and stuff like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So by the time that comes up, you're going to have tungsten to wrap on that lead.
So there'll be options. But I'm thinking tungsten bead up front and.
Yeah, I got 4 pound tungsten beads I used.
How much?
4 pound.
4 pound?
Yeah, work the Zappa gas.
I heard that right, I guess. Okay. So again, just wrap. This until it gets to the front of that lead, and this is just falling off the front here, but that's okay. Okay, so pretty close, and there's a little bit of lead showing through on my side. You can see it, but it doesn't really matter because once this fly gets in the water and fish chew it up. So on almost all of my nymphs, I do 2 whip finishes, just to be safe. There. So that's it. It's in the round, so no matter which way it comes at the fish, it looks right. And if I were to do this again, I would have stopped the lead, the second wrap of lead just a little bit back and moved this a little bit up there. Oh well. It'll work. It'll work. Yeah.
I don't think the fish is going to know it's different.
Probably not. And you may think to yourself, well, you know, like a Brooks Montana stone where you got hackle wrapped all the way through here. Well, you can't do that with these tiny little hen feathers, okay? But if you wanted to adapt it and put in a nice webby grizzly thing and wrap it all the way through, you could very easily, and I'm sure it would work just fine.
Nice.
Okay. So there, and then. And this catches anything you want to catch with it. Now, one of the things Don showed me fishing on the crow's nest, and this is what just blew my mind. I could not believe this. We were fishing I think it was mid-June. The runoff hadn't quite started yet, but the river was getting a little bit higher. And we were casting, and we were casting like literally so that the fly would, the indicator and fly would go right past our feet almost. And there were fish there. It was just incredible. You wouldn't think that there'd be fish like right there below me, but there were, and they were there, and we could catch them all day long. Didn't have to cast way out into the river, just a little 10 or 20 foot cast forward. Just watch that indicator set up when the fish came there.